All right, guys. So here we are. We have our second guide on how we're going to navigate new learning environments. And I'm so happy to be back. And for all you moms watching, I hope you had the most wonderful Mother's Day. So let's begin. My name's Jake Sussman. And I just want to take a minute and introduce myself for those of you who are new to this series and to my page. Welcome. And when you first come on, please share where you're coming from, what country you're watching from. And it's so cool to watch everyone from around the world just jumping on and sharing. And I really encourage you guys to share and ask questions. So let's begin. So who am I? Okay. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a parent. I'm not a teacher. What I am is your child. See, guys, I have experienced what your kids have experienced, and I have felt what your kids have felt. I am an LD advocate and founder of Superpower Consulting, which is a mentoring firm that empowers the LD students from across the globe to confidently and successfully excel in the traditional learning environment through self-advocacy. Now, I'm about to bring you a perspective that is so rarely shared. As someone who recently graduated college, something that I was once told would never happen because of my learning differences, I am going to bring you insight on how to master one of the scariest parts of the school experience, the transition. So I want you guys to listen very closely, okay? Because I'm about to provide some insights on this that, frankly, could really be helpful as your kids are going through this journey. Now, let's start. You are literally going from one place that you may be comfortable with friends and with teachers, to a whole new environment. So what do you do? Right? For someone with ADHD and dyslexia, to be in a new environment, it takes so much energy because for us, frankly, you guys, don't get me wrong, being home for the COVID-19 with schools being out, it is so disruptive. And so many kids that I've spoken to are also struggling with this, okay? So imagine this times 10, because now, let's say for those of you who are looking to transition into college, right? You have to balance so many things, right? You have to balance going academics, social life. You have to balance homework and health and hygiene. And on top of all of that, being in a new environment, and for someone with ADHD and dyslexia and with other learning differences, accommodations. All while having to keep good grades. So it's a lot. And you know what? We get the point. Okay? So what are we going to talk about today? All right? We're going to talk about navigating and mastering school transition. But in order to do that, we're going to talk about self-advocacy, building your success squad, which are some things that I talked about in my last workshop. We're going to talk about how to keep track of your goals, building relationships with authority figures like your teachers and other adults. And also I'm going to share some good resources. And everyone watching, Adam, Alexa, Harold, Stephen, guys, welcome. All right. So how do you even master school transition? The most important of all, I'm going to start with it at first, is you need to be able to advocate for yourself, right? And which is actually the surface for embracing who you are and how you learn, okay? So how do you do that? You got to lose the ego, number one. We have to be able to ask questions. It's okay to ask questions. Be hungry and be curious. Guys, this is so key. In fact, I wanted to share this with you that I'm reading this magazine called The Science of Creativity, and it quoted from Einstein that said, he said, "I have no special talents," Einstein once wrote to a friend. "I am just passionately curious." You see, guys, it's okay to ask questions. It doesn't make you stupid. So taking this all the way back on self-advocacy, you have to be able to embrace who you are. Embrace your strengths, embrace your different challenges, and guess what, guys? You're not stupid. Because every human being has a brain, but no human being has the same mind. Okay? All of us are different. All of us are different, and that's okay. So you have to know what your strengths are and what are some of the things that are hard. Now, Harold, I'm about to get into this really quickly on how we could find this. Okay, Harold asked, but what if you have a hard time with that? Thanks for asking that, Harold. So how do we find that? Now, let me tell you one trick that I work on with my mentees. Okay? Because frankly, if you're full of fear, anxiety, and stress, if you're frustrated, if you don't have a lot of confidence because your whole day in school, you're, let's say, reading and writing is really challenging, and it's just negative. So how can you even have the confidence in the first place? So here's a tool. I want you to think about an outlet that you love. In fact, one of my favorite is trains, and I have mine sitting on my desk. I love model trains, okay? So model trains were my outlet. So what are the outlets that your kids love? What are the things that they gravitate to? The things that get them excited and that they can keep doing? You know, for some of them, it's a hobby, a sport. I know a lot of kids are playing Roblox and Minecraft now. Okay, so that's a whole nother conversation that we can talk about. But frankly, I want to say that even if it has to do with Minecraft and Roblox, these are all games of where kids are in control of the outcome. They're building something, they're creating something, and they're using their imagination because that's a place of where they're in control. When in school, they may not have a lot of confidence. So for those that are looking to transition, especially into high school or into college, I need you guys to think about what are the things that you love. Because then, now that we're home, we can explore this. All right, guys? So that is going to help build the foundation for self-advocacy because you can embrace your strengths and realize that these are the things that you're very good at. And then knowing that you do have some things that are challenging and that's just the way it is because that's what makes you unique. And you know what? It doesn't mean you can't do it. If you have dyslexia, it doesn't mean that you can't read. It just means that it's challenging. I'm an auditory learner, which means that I need accommodations of someone who's blind. I can see fine, but frankly, that's how I have to explain it in order to get the point across on how serious I am that I need everything on audio. Okay, and if you have questions on this, again, feel free to ask, guys. Okay, next. Building your success squad. All right, so now that we have understood the foundation and fundamentals to advocacy, which is communication, who are the people that we want to bring in on our team? Okay, because when you're going to a new environment, you don't know the new environment, but there's going to be people that may know it also that will be able to help you navigate the best places to go. All right? So who is your team? I mean, this could be a coach, a parent, an adult, a teacher, a mentor. It could be anyone that you consider as an ally. All right? So these are the people that, you know what? They've been through it already. They've been through school. Okay? I am 25. All right? I graduated college a few years ago. So it's fresh. And that's what I'm bringing back here and working on with the kids and with young adults, with navigating through this one piece is building that success squad because these are the people that are going to help have your back. And I'll give you a quick story on this. So I know for me, I eat a lot. Food's very important. It actually helps me focus. All right. So I knew that when I went to college, which my story is I went to a university called Roger Williams University, which is the only school that I applied to without an academic support program. So everyone was freaking out. My parents were freaking out. My mentors were freaking out. Everyone was freaking out. But I knew that this is where I wanted to be. All right. So how can I create an environment, a place of success in a whole new place that it was actually the environment that once failed me all the way back in 6th grade. So I had to build relationships with teachers. I had to build relationships with the people that ran the Student Success Center. I had to build relationships with the kitchen staff. Everyone that I knew that I needed. And this isn't being a teacher's pet, guys. Okay? A lot of times my mentees get this confused. The difference between being a teacher's pet and working smarter, not harder, there's a huge difference, and here's what it is. A teacher's pet, that's a social term used in school by people that really don't understand what it means to have a relationship with an authority figure, like a teacher. But what you're really doing is you're getting on their level. You're building a relationship with someone that has the control of your grade, that is going to help you, that is going to have your back. Guys, I've had some of the worst teachers. They've made kids cry. And those very teachers, I had some of the best relationships with. Why? Because I went out of my way to introduce myself, to say what got you interested in being a teacher. And just by asking these questions, it humanizes yourself. It humanizes the teacher. It shows to this teacher that, you know what? We're all in this together. I know, teacher, that you have all these different students. So what is it that gets you excited about teaching? And you may not care about it, but what that does is it builds a relationship. It starts a relationship. Yes, Alexa, self-advocacy. That's what it is. Hello, Deb. Welcome. Okay. And that brings me into this next step, which is building relationships with authority. Guys, if you want to master school transition, you have to learn how to build relationships with authority. It doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you less than. It makes you smart. Because these are the people that are going to ultimately either have your back or they're the ones in charge of your grade. So you're going to have to figure it out. All right? So let's talk about a template, because I know I mentioned that we're going to talk about how do we even communicate to someone who doesn't understand. And we're going to, that whole how do you communicate to someone who doesn't understand, I'm going to talk about on Wednesday, but I'm going to give a little highlight of this now because it's important. Because when it comes to transitioning, you're going to have to be preemptive. Okay? You're going to have to set it up. And Deb Perry Ozug on the chat, she was one of my mentors as a freshman in college. So major shout out to Deb. Deb, thank you. And this was some of the stuff that we did together, where we went in to the teachers. I sent them an email. I said, hello, teacher. My name is Jake Sussman. I'm so excited to be part of your class. And I just want to take a minute and speak with you. Do you have a few minutes? I didn't say what. I just said I want to meet. I go into that meeting and I introduce myself. How is it going? What got you excited about teaching? Now, here's how I learn. Because this year, I want to help you and I need your help also. So how can we be a team? Guys, it's about building a team. Okay? No great success happened by themselves. We need to bring other people on board. And this is what we're about to do. It doesn't matter about the reputation of the teacher. They can have the worst rating on Rate My Professor. It doesn't matter. You are the one in control. All right? So we go and meet with this teacher. Okay? Let's pretend that they know nothing about learning differences, although they have to give it in America. Okay? I'm not sure about other countries for those of you watching. But here's what we do. Teacher, I need your help. So I need accommodations of someone who's blind. This is for me. And I know that in order for me to be successful, I need everything to be on audio. Okay, so how can we do this semester? Can this happen? And you open up conversation. And you bring them into your team. And guys, this does not happen overnight. This takes a lot of confidence. This takes a lot of high levels of self-esteem. You have to know yourself. And this is stuff that I work on with my mentees. Because this is one of the most important tactics. Because it's not just going to happen in school. It's going to happen in the workplace. Maybe you're starting your own business and you need to talk to advisors. You're going to have to build a team of advisors. This is going to take you far beyond school. But we're going to practice this right now. School is like the playground for trial and error. All right. So do we have any questions on building relationships with authority, building your success squad? Again, I'm going to talk about this more on Wednesday on how do you talk to someone who doesn't understand or appreciate the way you learn? Okay, because that's something that kids and parents are dealing with every day. Unfortunately, it breaks my heart, guys. It breaks my heart, but we're going to get through this. Okay? All right, moving on. Moving on. Keeping track of your goals. Now, as someone with ADHD, I have a lot of big goals. I have a lot of dreams. I like to imagine and be creative. And I have all these different ideas. So what do you do with all these ideas? Because time management is very, very hard for me. And it's hard for a lot of people with learning differences. So what do we do? Okay, keeping track of your goals. I didn't learn this until freshman year of college. Can you guys hear me? Deb, did you lose audio? All right, we're going to continue here. If you guys lost audio, please let me know. I didn't learn this until freshman year of college, but I wish I learned this much earlier. So this is why I'm going to share this with you now. Taking notes, okay? Taking notes and setting goals every morning, right? If you win the morning, you win the day. Win the morning, you win the day. You wake up, you think about your goals. You think about what are the things that you want to achieve one day? And they could be crazy goals. It doesn't matter if they're reachable right now. You can say, I want to make $1 million by 30. Or I want to graduate college, something a little bit more realistic. Or maybe I want to go to college. Okay? Start small. Think of just 5 things. But write them down every day. And then what you do is what you have, excuse my handwriting, but you have one side, which are all of the things that you want to achieve. Then, on the other side, you have what's called daily goals. These are the things that you want to achieve during the day that will help you with your bigger goals. Then at the end of the day, you have what's called your daily debrief, which are just reflection of the day. How did it go? Because, I was just looking back at my year, and it's pretty cool to see what was going on that day and how good I felt. But you know what this does, guys? It keeps you on track, keeps you focused. And you don't have to be so regimented with it. But just take it one step at a time. Because, again, doing this, especially for someone with ADHD and with dyslexia and with other learning and attention challenges, when you write it down, when you write down your thoughts, or if writing is hard, if you do voice to text, okay, you're getting it on paper. You're putting it down. You're able to see it. Okay, so some people are having a hard time hearing me, so we're going to continue. Maybe this will be a little helpful. Okay, next is practicing being as independent as possible. So we're home. And we have an opportunity to practice a lot of our strategies before we actually enter the game, which is school, okay? So now that we're home, for the kids watching this and for parents, all right, this is really important as we continue being with our kids like this. A lot of schools around the U.S. and around the world are closing early for the year. So this is a good time to start practicing having our kids be as independent as possible. All right. Some of the work that I'm doing with some of my mentees is the following. Let's take math. For a lot of kids, math is hard. And the first reaction is to ask for help. Okay. Let's try to not do that right away. Instead of just asking for help, let's just take a stab at it. Even if we have no idea, even if it's just adding a 1 or just solving one part of the problem or just writing your name or writing a question mark, at least give it a try. Even if you know that you're not going to get it right. The point of it is to know deep down that you put an effort in and now you're going to ask for help. Because being independent doesn't necessarily mean don't ask for help. It means asking for help at the right time when you're ready. All right? So for the kids watching this and young adults watching this, and for the parents, this is a perfect opportunity to practice being independent. Okay, because when parents, when our kids one day go off to college, they're not going to be home. Okay, they're going to be going to school. Then one day they're going to be leaving school. So we want our kids to be learning how to be independent, but knowing at the same time how to ask for help. Because again, it doesn't make you weak. It makes you very, very strong because it shows that you know what you need and you want to get what you want. Don't we all? Okay, so we're almost finished here. So I wanted to just share some resources that I think could be really helpful. The first one is called iStudies Pro. Okay, so that's iStudies, STUDIEZ Pro. And this was my app I used throughout all of college. All right, and it's also useful for high school as well. And it's just a good place to have all of your assignments, all of your classes in one place. It reminds you, it hooks up with your calendar. You can color code it. You can put different pictures. So that is something that I'm recommending to a lot of people. Again, it's called iStudies Pro, and it's really helpful for compartmentalizing the day, your homework, your assignments, and being able to write things down and cross it out. It keeps track of everything. Okay, so the next is Evernote. For those of you who know what Evernote is a great app, both on the computer and on the phone. It's really good for note-taking, voice to text. You can record, you can do a lot of different things, and also it syncs up across the board. Really suggest Evernote. Dragon Dictation is another one. Again, voice to text, if those that are really hard at, if writing is challenging, this is something that I recommend to help get your thoughts on paper. It'll write for you. I'm gonna take a quick pause because Harold has a question. Harold asked, anything similar you recommend for a rising 6th grader? In terms of the resources, it's a little bit different, but the big one for 6th grade and for middle school is Khan Academy. If you have a hard time, if math is challenging, Khan Academy also has a lot of other resources on it. But Khan Academy for math is great. And then Nessie is another great platform. It's an education platform designed for dyslexic students. Harold, Khan Academy is a great resource, and so is Nessie, Nessy. And if you want to just reach out to me directly, I'll be happy to connect you, and we can talk further on that. Another really great resource at the end is the classic Google Calendar, and you can have different colors, and the calendars can remind you, can send you emails, and just keeping you focused throughout the day. For me, I need reminders across the board or else I'm going to forget. If it's not my phone, if it doesn't buzz, I will forget. So Google Calendar has been my personal assistant throughout all of college and up until now, and it's been fantastic. So I recommend Google Calendar. And I would say one last piece of advice, if time management's challenging, and for those of you watching with younger kids, you guys need to get, I'm blanking out on the name of it, but it's a timer that will help you visualize time by seeing the red on it. And I'm going to put a post in here on what it's called with the link to it. But again, it's very helpful for visualizing time. All right, guys, so we have about 5 more minutes here. So I am going to stay on for a little bit longer just to answer some more questions. So just to wrap it up, when it comes to school transition, and for the young adults and parents watching that are right now in that process, this is a time that you should cherish and that you should be prepared for, because it's exciting, And if you have the right resources, it's going to be great. But you have to go in with an open mind. For the kids and young adults watching this, you must go into school with an open mind. Try out new clubs. See what's there. If you see someone singing alone, you know what? They don't know you too. Let's just sit down and introduce. Hi, what's your name? Because you never know who you're going to meet. We always hear these stories of, oh, I went to school with this famous person or that person. Well, you know what? Now is the time of where people in this world of being socially distant, well, I guess everything's a little bit different now, but let me go back to school. Reach out to someone new that you don't know, because you never know who you'll meet. And just hang in there. Hang in there. Believe in yourself. Know that you're not stupid, because the way you learn is a mind that people are seeking. Companies are looking for people with dyslexia and ADHD, because we have the mind that's going to change our world, because we look at the world differently. And that's the only way the world's going to change. So I believe in you. And for those of you who want to know more information about my mentorship program, it's called the Discover Your Superpowers Mentorship Program. And it is designed for kids and young adults ages from 7 years old all the way through college. And I can work with anyone around the world. And it's designed to build self-confidence around the way we learn, to ultimately lead to master self-advocates. And it's a great program. A lot of parents are loving it. Kids are loving it. Transformation's happening all the time. It's great. So for more information on that, you can visit my website at www.superpowerconsulting.com or send me an email at jake@superpowerconsulting.com. Guys, you are wonderful. Please continue asking questions. Reach out to me if you need anything. And I'm here for you. And tomorrow is going to be really fun. This is a workshop for parents. Going to be talking about how we can help our kids find better creative outlets at home during COVID-19. Guys, you're wonderful. Stay safe, stay healthy, wear a mask, wash your hands, and good night.